There's this brand new AI-powered coding editor that's just been released called Trae AI, and I wanted to explore it in today's video. It immediately comes with free access to some of the most powerful coding models like Gemini 2.5 Pro and Claude 3.7, something that normally is pretty expensive if you've tried vibe coding before. Additionally, as a fork based off VS Code, it comes with all the AI features you would expect, such as MCP support, custom agents, and chat right inside of your editor. So in this video, I'm going to take an in-depth look at Trae AI, cover how it works and what makes it special and different. Let's begin. Starting on Google, I'm going to search up Trae AI. The spelling is Trae. I'll also add a link in my description in case that makes it easier. I'm going to select the link here to download it, and let's now install it. Here it is. I haven't logged in yet, so in order to use the AI, I'm going to do that. It's just going to connect my account here on the website straight into the IDE. So while you don't have to attach any payment or credit card details, this now has unlocked all the AI functionality. First, to take a look at agents. The main agent is the builder agent. I'll do this example here where it builds a snake game. I'm going to open up this snake folder, and here it starts building it in the background. It builds out the HTML, CSS, and finally all the JavaScript. I'll review the code, run up this Python script to run up a quick web server, and test out to see if this snake game actually works. And it's all working. Here's a quick preview of that snake game in action that we built in just about 30 seconds. The builder agent can also work with different AI models. Right now we're using Claude 3.5 Sonnet, but I'm going to upgrade it to Gemini 2.5 Pro. And I'll add in a query to help improve this snake game by adding a better UI as well as more features. And here's what Gemini has come up with. It looks a little bit better and gives you an idea of how you can start vibe coding your own ideas out as well. Now, I wanted to have this snake game look more like an actual snake game. So I did some searching and found some good pictures of what snake games look like. I like this one here, so I'm going to save this as a reference image, and I'm going to paste this into Trae AI to use it as source material to update the styling of my current one. Using images as context is one of my favorite ways to help the AI understand more or less how I want a user interface to be created. Here I've got a prompt saying, make the user interface look more like the reference image, and you can see here Gemini 2.5 has image inputs available. After a little bit of thinking and coding, I end up with this design just over here. It's a big improvement on what we previously had, adhering to more of those snake colors with the greens and reds, but I still think that there can be further improvements because while this looks good, the snake doesn't look like a snake just yet, nor do the apples look like apples. I re-prompted it once more to be more focused on creating actual apples, and now they're looking much better. Since this is just a simple example, let's move on and have a look at how to set up different things like rules, context, and autocomplete. To change this, I'm going to go to the top right here. I've got a few options like changing the theme for the IDE, as well as the AI management, which I'll have a look at shortly. But first, I want to go to the IDE settings. Here, I can import my configuration from either VS Code or Cursor. Since I do have a number of plugins and extensions that I often like to use, this process actually makes it quite simple to get them all up and running inside of Trae. And here's that complete, including things like my key bindings, settings, as well as extensions like for MongoDB, Prisma, and Python. Now to set up AI rules. If I head to the AI management section and head to rules, I have two different types of rules I can set up: user rules and project rules. Let's start with doing some user rules. These are going to be things that are consistent between all projects and include things like what language you speak or what operating system you use. I'm just going to update this here for myself. Additionally, I'm going to add in things like I always code in React and that I usually like to use things like JavaScript over TypeScript. The thing is, these last two rules are more project-based rules rather than user rules. So I'm going to cut them out and create a project rules file. And here I'm going to paste these two in. You can see they're in the project on the left now. Now to take a look at MCP. If you head over to AI Management and MCP, here you'll get a little bit of information on how to connect up your own MCP servers to Trae AI. What's pretty impressive is that there's already a huge marketplace with configurations on how to do this. So if you want to connect up your GitHub or your Figma or even just things like Stripe straight into your AI agent, then you'll be able to do that. For this example here, I'm going to just connect it to Figma so that we can start utilizing the design for this project and have it reference inside of the agent when I'm doing different tasks. First, I'll need to create a personal access token so that the agent can access the MCP server. Here I'll generate the token through Figma and then attach it into Trae AI. This time, if we head to Trae and select the agent, instead of picking the normal builder agent, we're going to select the builder with MCP, which comes with that bridge to Figma that we can start utilizing. You can see I have this giant Figma file with all sorts of designs for this project I'm building. And I want to copy out the logo so that it can be used inside of my current project I'm coding. With MCP, it's as easy as asking it to download the logo and place it into my project folder. Not only is it able to scan through the entire design file on Figma, it's able to properly identify the logo and then also place it directly in my public folder, which is where I would need it for this Next.js project. Now that Figma is connected through MCP, we can do some really cool things, such as creating entire UI elements and components directly from their designs in Figma. Here I've got this left-hand menu from the Figma design file, which I want Trae to start building for me for my application. It scans through the Figma file, and now it's able to create all those UI elements and even a preview page for me to test out. Here's all the code, and here is the menu in practice. It's got hover states, it resizes, and it's ready for me to start using for my MVP. Now to take a look at custom agents. Unlike Builder and Builder MCP, which is more or less pre-configured, a custom agent is something that you can create to have much more control over the prompt, the tools they have access to, and how they deliver different types of outputs. For this example, I'm going to create a custom design agent. It's going to kind of be like a front-end engineer that's going to help me convert a lot of my designs into usable UI components, but it's going to have more specific rules and understanding of my project that I'm going to bake into the system prompt to follow as a guide. And while you can have a lot of these things as system prompts and rules, I'll get into that later. I'll also decide which MCP tools I can connect to it. In this case, I just want Figma since I want it to have reference to the original designs and I don't want it to search the web for results. With this, I can now use the agent. The first task I want it to do is to help me build a top menu for my design where I can do actions like zooming in and zooming out. Here the agent is coding, creating the files for the design of that top menu. And here in my MVP, I've got that top menu with a number of options, including being able to zoom out, being able to zoom in. I can fit to screen and even focus in on an individual node. Now let's take a look at things like context and autocomplete. Context is pretty simple, since it happens in the background. You can see that my workspace here has been fully indexed. I also can add docs, which I'm going to do in a second, but let's take a look at this project I have running over here. It's a Next.js app, and one of the things I like about Trae is that there's a web browser to view the project directly inside of the IDE. It's just this preview button over here, which will launch now on port 3000. And you can see that my application is just a drag and drop interface right now that I'm building up. Unfortunately, I'm getting a bug right now whenever I resize any one of these nodes. So I want to see if I can use the docs and help myself diagnose and fix this error. So to add the docs, I'm going to head over to Google and search up React Flow and head over to the official documentation for the API. Then inside of Trae, I'm going to select add from URL. Enter in that this is for React Flow as well as the API references, and this will index in the background. Once indexed, I can go back to Trae and use the hashtag and reference docs, then pick the docs I want to use, in this case React Flow, reference the error I'm having, and have it help me go through all the documentation to find the best practice way to identify what this error is and how to resolve it. And it's things like this that usually save me hours of reading and effort to try and understand exactly what's happening behind the hood of complex software. For this example, it recommended this solution, which I applied, then tested, and found that I no longer had the bug. Trae also has a very powerful autocomplete. So anytime you're typing anything, it'll create a content for you where you can tab out to complete the entire function. Pretty cool. I can also hit Ctrl-I to prompt it to complete a certain task, like this one here to create an on-move handler. As you can imagine, this can be pretty useful when you're coding. From completing general text to helping you do imports really quickly, styling, classes, or just filling out the content structure for maybe a React component in nearly no time at all. The main difference that I've noticed from Trae and other coding IDEs was that this one just did that autocomplete much faster. There's also a number of other little useful features hiding in the background, like this outline of this component itself in a structure that feels more intuitive based on how it's created as a React component, rather than looking through the code, as well as things like the timeline, so I can change and revert back different file changes and a number of other things. I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, let me know in the comments below. Additionally, a big thanks to Trae AI for sponsoring this video. They make videos like this and others happen on this channel. If you want to check them out, have a look at the link in the description below as well.